I don't want to have people understand it's like, well, I need protection. And it's not necessarily that. If you look at it as a way of maintaining your frequency, your vibrations without being overwhelmed by others. So you can maintain your frequencies, like you're doing a meditation, you go up in vibration, you can stay there
Hmm.
until you actually start to come back down without being overwhelmed by anybody else or anything else. So this is what Metatron was talking about, where it's to help you maintain your frequencies.
Hmm. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever and whenever you are watching or listening. This is the Holistic Monitor, and I'm your host, Nick Sconia. The Holistic Monitor podcast is a weekly show featuring guest interviews with discussions about self-discovery, philosophy, spirituality, and our relationship with the world around us. Your support this last year has meant the world to me, and you can now go to holisticmonitor.com to support the topics you want to hear with our new show merchandise, featuring hats, t-shirts, hoodies, and more. You can also support us by simply sharing your favorite episode with your followers. And with that, let's get the show started. Peter Benson, you work to help others clear trauma and build greater awareness and wellness. And you have a unique way of doing it. Could you explain your process?
Yes, thank you. Thank you for having me on. Um, yes, the process that I've been through is actually, it was more of a transformation for me as going through a life change, where Archangel Metatron came in and showed me how to build anklets that would actually help protect my energy from others and the environment. You know, and as you said, it's like to protect your energy as we go through these times, where it was the words that were used.
Hmm.
So from that particular time on, the anklets were created, and then after that, through necessity, a Metatron pendant. And then as I was making those, Archangel Michael came in and said, "Well, I want one that looks like this and feels like this," and that's where the Archangel Michael pendant came in, and
Hmm.
we had the Shamuel and the multidimensional. So all of these came in through a different, like a divine channel of just knowing and creation.
Hmm.
And these tools can be utilized by anybody, and they're intention based. So you can just think what you want them to do, and they do.
Okay. Could you explain the bracelet, the anklet, excuse me, a little bit? Is it like a beaded bracelet? Is it linked chain?
No, it's actually the anklet is a tensor ring, so it's a flattened tensor ring.
Hmm.
Um, so it actually will just bends around your leg. It has 5 crystals inside, and then it has a copper mesh over it. And it's designed to, keep you very grounded and balance your chakras and basically close down your field so that you don't feel everything around you.
Hmm.
But the copper mesh really stands out as its highlight when you're wearing them.
Yeah, and the tensor ring, could you explain what that is as far as a visual? It's like a one size fits all kind of a spring type of inside, is that right? As a base?
No, actually, Tensor ring is actually a copper wire. So you take one single copper wire and then you fold it over. You twist it up, and then you cut it to the specific lengths, and then it creates a very specific frequency. The anklets are made from the unity ring, and there are numerous other tensor rings and different lengths that we use.
Hmm.
So anywhere from root chakra all the way up to crown chakra, star chakra, and Solomon's cubit, which for the throat chakra. So the frequencies are all varying depending on what you want to use them for and what you need for them.
Okay.
So the anklets are basically used on the star chakra.
Hmm.
So they actually help you stay grounded, well balanced, and keep you here.
And
Incarnate to be here.
is that done by means of it tapping into the root chakra or aligning with the root chakra?
As far No, it's actually more of if you think about it, your star chakra is allowing you to connect to your higher self, and it balances you, but it also makes sure that you stay here. Remember, we're here to we're incarnated here to do job. So our star chakra allows us to connect, yes, but it also wants to make sure you stay here.
Hmm.
It's like there's a lot of people that are actually a lot more in their higher chakras and they're floaty, but they're not very grounded in their approach to things. They have, the highest, it's like the intentions of the really, really high, but in reality, they're not here. So they're missing the actual, like if you want, for lack of a better word, the boots on the ground effect
Hmm.
of all those choices and decisions that we're trying to make. It's just like we're not quite there yet, so let's come back to ground, make sure we can do what we are proposing we can do, and then move on. So we want to make sure that we're staying here, fully incarnate. Yes, we're raising our vibration. That is the whole point, and bring our entire physical body with us as we raise our vibration.
Hmm.
Not just bring your upper part, your upper three chakras, and go up. That's not going to bring you. That's not going to go very far.
Right. And you mentioned stones as well. Are there specific stones
Yeah.
that you use?
Yes, they're the five very specific stones that Metatron had me put in there. Uh, the Tiger's Eye, Lapis Lazuli, Black Onyx, Morganite, and Tanzanite.
Hmm. Morganite
They create a shielding effect. Yep.
and tanzanite. Okay, that's a good combo. uh,
Well, when he gave me that message, I had never heard of Morganite and Tanzanite, so I had to go and look it up. It's like,
yeah,
oh, okay.
they're a little more on the new end of stones. And what was the third one? It was tiger's eye, lapis.
Black
Oh,
Onyx.
black onyx. Right. So very classic stones. I was thinking of the breastplate of the high priest. That maybe would fall in line with that. But the morganite maybe acting as a diamond, perhaps, and the tanzanite was a throw off there. So I was like, oh, okay, tanzanite. Tanzanite has a really interesting vibration to it. It's an interesting stone. It's very heavy, and yet it holds a really unique type of light in it. Tanzanite. Now, do you
Yeah.
use
Yeah.
beads for that, or are these stones that are woven
No.
into it?
Oh, it's just raw crystal.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And do the stones kind of remain the same for the pendants as well, or do you do a variation for those?
They're the same crystals for the Metatron pendant, but the Archangel Michael pendant is different. And as the one you can see on the bottom of the right screen here, that's the Michael. It has the turquoise, selenite, and green mica as those three alternate crystals, and it creates more of it creates a shielding effect because it has the crystals of a Metatron, but it also has those extra three, and those three create an environment of warmth and comfort. So when you're wearing it, you just feel like Michael's right here behind you, and you feel warm, protected, shielded.
Yeah, and that seems to be the theme. Is there's some guard, there's some protection, but there's also starness to it, like the lapis. There's that energy of the
Yeah.
stars. And Michael is an angel that they say is carries the sword, right, of the south.
Yeah.
So that would be a strong
Yep. Archangel
protector
Michael.
and defender from bad things.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Archangel Michael's there to help protect and cut cords and clear the things that are, let's say, bothering you if you need to actually have a little bit of more of a spiritual help.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And the same idea with the coiling of the copper for the pendants as well as the anklets. Is that right?
No, that's a different. The coiling for the anklets are a lot tighter
Hmm.
than there is for the pendants. The winding on it, yes.
And is that when you twist the metals, are you getting kind of that Tesla coil effect to it?
Well, these are so a tensor ring is actually something that was actually discovered. At least the energy behind the tensor ring was discovered back in '57. John Archibald Wheeler, he was one of the physicists on the Manhattan Project.
Hmm.
He discovered if you take a wire and then braze it back onto itself, it created a field.
Mm-hmm.
When you wear a wedding ring or any other ring, you're creating the same field. but it's a lot smaller and it's not designed that way. So it's not creating a really, really strong field. It's very minor.
Right.
But he found out that it creates a positive field on one side and a negative field on the other. So it became pretty much not much of a use to anybody in the
Hmm.
nuclear physics area. In the early 90s, Slim Sperling discovered this technology. And it's like, well, this is great, but I can't use it because if somebody's using the wrong side of this thing, it'll hurt them.
Hmm.
And it came to the point where he was actually had one ring as a positive side, negative side, and somebody was just being, kind of being funny. It's like, look, it's not going to hurt me. And he put the negative side to his heart chakra, and it stopped his heart.
Hmm. Wow.
So they pulled it off, got his heart started. It's like, okay, we're not doing that again. Then they cut that ring, and it no longer was functioning.
Yeah.
So they don't do that.
Right.
So what Slim found was if you take a copper wire and have twice the length or over twice the length, then fold it over. So now you have a current going in both directions, right? You spin it
Hmm.
clockwise for positive rotation, cut it to that specific length of wire that you need, that frequency that you're looking for, and then braze the wires back onto each other to create a field of an energy field going in both directions, which is a donut energy field, a torus,
Taurus. Yeah.
a bidirectional torus, like we are, like Nassim Haramein talks about. It's a bidirectional torus energy field, and it creates a positive energy field projecting out both sides.
Hmm.
The thing is with these is it's really interesting is it creates a film of energy in the middle, similar to like if you're looking at a child blowing bubbles, the soap film inside that ring. Now figure that little soap film is in the center of that tensor ring, and that intersects all the crystals that are in there.
Hmm.
And then the tensor ring amplifies the crystals.
Right. Okay. So just it's metaphysical pendant for sure, and
It's a metaphysical tension.
yeah, and it's grounded in like a scientific metaphysical principle. So this could be useful for a lot of people for a lot of different things, but it is geared towards, as far as Metatron's influence or inspiration, for the Metatron anklet and the pendant. This would be something that people could use to kind of attach themselves to their star self, and then also ground that into the world. That's basically what you're saying with that?
Well, what the tools do, they'll take the anklets for first and foremost. Let's just say you have a lot of people out there, which is everybody. It just depends on how sensitive they are to being able to feel the environment. Most people don't understand it until they go into a large conference with a lot of people in a very small room, or you go into uh, going shopping or something like that. Go to Costco or a Sam's Club where you have several hundred people in the same room, all very anxious, all driven, all with the frame of mind, I have to get going, get through here. You can feel the energy and you get antsy and you start feeling very tense. You can feel the same energy when you're going to a large sporting event with several thousand. You get waved over by the emotion of everybody in the audience there.
Mm-hmm.
So you get pushed by that energy. So what these do is it basically takes your torus energy field, your personal field, and the tensor ring and the crystals modify your field. Now, a lady we met in San Francisco described it like this. You have a torus energy field and you have an opening at the root chakra and then the crown chakra, and that's how you feel your energy. So as the energy comes in, it hits your field and then it flows into your crown chakra, flows into your root chakra, right? So that's how
Mm-hmm.
you feel your environment. And she was basically saying, it's like, so you take that and you basically cap the top and cap the bottom. So now your energy field is no longer coming into your crown and root chakra. It's now circulating outside of your field.
Hmm.
So the energy is literally flowing over you instead of into you. So you're not going to feel those energies unless you choose to. This is an intention tool. So if you choose to feel it, you will feel it. So that's what these are for. So if somebody's extremely empathic and feels people, feels the environment, these are the strongest tool you can buy that can actually stop that energy from getting to you, and you can actually live through it and be like almost uh what do you want to call it? Be a third person viewing that energy instead of being subject to it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Instead of being at the whims of it, right?
Correct.
So psychic protection, this would fall in line with that as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anything that could
Yeah.
interfere with your
And
poles.
yes, that's what these do. And you can control them with your intentions. So you can actually have a lot of fun with that.
Hmm.
It's like we've actually had experiences with many, many people where between a pendant and an anklet, we actually have it's like make me invisible to those who do me harm because they're under energetic attack, and it stops immediately.
Yeah. Okay.
So it's amplifying you and your intentions. So
Yeah.
it gives you an idea of how powerful you really are. It just amplifies you.
Right. Right. I like to say with stones in general, people are like, "What is the whole thing?" And I say it's a subtle energy that you can get in tune with and harmonize with, and it can kind of balance that same energy in you as the stone is kind of putting off. If you can get to that point where you're sensitive enough to experience it, um, then that amplifies it, the intent and the desire. But also, the stone is doing this thing already by itself. So these
Yes.
tools, they work to, and we call them tools, not necessarily jewelry, but you can wear them, which is great. They work to kind of harmonize and protect. So harmonize with, align with purpose, but also to protect
Mhm.
you from forces that you may not want to be coming in. So
Yeah.
it seems like a
Um,
pretty good
yeah,
thing, right?
it is. And it's yes, we call it I don't want to have people understand it's like, well, I need protection. And it's not necessarily that. If you look at it as a way of maintaining your frequency, your vibrations without being overwhelmed by others. So you can maintain your frequencies, like you're doing a meditation, you go up in vibration, you can stay there
Hmm.
until you actually start to come back down without being overwhelmed by anybody else or anything else. So this is what Metatron was talking about, where it's to help you maintain your frequencies.
Hmm. It's almost like an environmental protector. Not
Yeah.
necessarily just protection for you, but the environment around you, the surroundings.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they're very powerful in that way, and it's like you mentioned a second ago. It's like if you're sensitive enough to feel crystals on their own,
Yeah.
these actually amplify the crystals, so you can actually feel the crystals a lot stronger with a smaller piece of the crystal. It's like carrying around like a 5 pound piece of each one of those crystals without a tensor ring is what you would feel. They're very strong.
Yeah. Yeah. I find that crystals, for me, I have no problem with getting in tune with them, but add a little copper or some kind of mechanism to the crystal, and you can just see what it's doing. It's just got a great way of amplification. Pyramids, even cutting stones into certain shapes helps to
Yeah.
enhance some form or fashion of what it might be doing. And so Michael and Metatron,
Yeah.
and you mentioned another one as well. What was the other pendant?
We have one more under the Archangel range, which is the Archangel Shamuel.
Shamuel.
Uh, yeah, to know yourself, and that one has all the crystals as Michael has.
Hmm.
So it has the shielding or the protection, and also the calming, clearing, and emotional healing. But it has 10 other crystals specifically designed to release stress and trauma.
Hmm.
And it is extremely calming for those that are under heavy stress or dealing with a lot of stuff going on a lot of time. They don't have to have a lot of trauma, but heavy stress
Right.
or anxieties and
Anxiety.
stuff like that. It helps calm your energy so that your nervous system can calm down.
Hmm. Does celestite play a role in that one? I find that's a very calming stone, celestite,
Yeah.
though it is brittle. Not typically something you see in jewelry, but and that, of course, is very useful in the way that something allows you to align with your purpose and protect your environment or shield you from the environment, as it were.
Yeah.
This would also do that, but it also aligns you with 10 different aspects. Would that fall in line with chakras by chance?
No, the 10 crystals were specifically chosen through research and dowsing and
Hmm.
asking the Archangel Shamuel, what do you need in this to actually be what you're asking?
Hmm.
And I was dowsing out, and there was a list of like 50 different crystals. And if you look for if you look online and look for the metaphysics of the crystals for stress relief, for trauma relief, you're going to have a list, and it's
Yeah.
a massive list
Yeah.
because they all do a lot of that work.
Yeah.
So it's what I had to do is actually dial it down to which ones were actually working with each other, kind of making it more of a cohesive,
Mm.
a unit versus, it's like, well, you have one that does just this or just that. And it's like you have some that have some that are really overlapping in the energies
Mm.
to actually give you a more beneficial shift to your field and your energy.
Yeah. It's almost like getting a true tone of
Yeah.
blue or whatever it might be, whatever that vibration
Yeah.
is for healing. Excellent. And you have these pendants in stores?
We have them one store here in Scottsdale. We have them actually for sale in the UK, and we do sell online. We have other places we're looking at also getting to go, and probably in one in European Union.
Hmm.
We're looking at also Dubai and possibly someplace in Australia, but
I was
we'll
gonna
see what
say
happens.
Australia. You gotta go to Australia. Gotta
Oh
do
yeah, well we're
Australia.
going to be there next year.
Oh, fantastic. Now, do you travel a lot? Do you go to sacred centers and things like that?
Yes, we do. We did, let's see, we did UK earlier this year. We did Glastonbury. We did
Hmm.
the Glastonbury tour. We did the Stonehenge. We did Avebury Henge. We did some energy work on all those sites. We also went to Egypt. We hit Giza Plateau. We did the Sphinx. We actually energized. We did some major work on the Sphinx.
Hmm.
Uh, Went to Luxor. Went to Aswan. We did the Saqqara. We had we did a bunch of different sites in Egypt, and we just went to Santorini to clear some Atlantean energies,
Hmm.
and we just got back from a very large conference in Kos, Greece.
Oh, wow. That's great. So very active and doing a lot of good
Yeah,
stuff in the world. Yeah.
absolutely.
And
We definitely do a lot of work everywhere.
you're in Scottsdale, so you're really close to Sedona.
Yeah.
I imagine you have good access and go up there quite often.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a
We
pretty
do
cool.
enjoy going up there. The energies up there are kind of polaric at times, so we can't spend a lot of time up there, but we do spend time up there. We enjoy the view and the energy up there uh, during the daytime, and it definitely shifts a little bit depending on what locations you go to.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the vortices are just a little bit out of tune, so
Mm.
those are coming back into alignment, but that's all right.
Mm-hmm.
Just takes time.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, we definitely enjoy going up there.
Yeah, I've found that and this also goes to stones too, and different frequencies that people might find when they go to a different location that they just don't harmonize with it. That there's something wrong with either their field or the field that's there. Something has happened to a lot of spaces. I find that's often. And for myself, I stayed away from Moldavite for a really long time and Fulgurite because it's just too much going on. There's just too much of the cause of why it is. That seems to be an overriding kind of energy that I don't like to work with it. It's
Yeah.
just too much, right? It's just overwhelming. A lot of sacred centers seem to have that where it's just an influx like a waterfall, being by a waterfall, and except that you're feeling it in a subtle way versus hearing it, or getting the water spray or whatever. You're feeling it in a very different way, and it can be overwhelming without even knowing that it's happening. Do you find that
Oh, absolutely.
you have that? Yeah. Um,
Yeah, when we hit Egypt, the energetic layering um, of whether it's history or the the political nature or it's the monarchy or whatever is going on, but you could actually feel the density of the area. And it's the same thing we hit with Greece, but it was a different energy. And when you went to the UK, you could feel it, and it was a different energy. And
hmm,
we went to Costa Rica earlier this year also, and you could definitely feel the layers of. For Costa Rica, it was a little bit different. It was more of a energy of withdrawing natural resources instead of being in balance with the resources. So
Mm.
when you're going to these different locations, like you were saying, it's you can feel the energy shifting and the differences
Mm-hmm.
of these locations, and it's because the people that have been there, they're not really attuned to feeling it. They're just a part of it,
Right.
and then they need to actually work on getting themselves out of that rut, I guess, if you want to put it that way, or they get themselves out of the just being a part of that field and try to be above it and try to heal it from there.
Yeah. Yeah. I have heard and have experienced some of it with these power centers that couples will split, couples will break up if they stay there too long. Um, that if you live there, it can feel like a trap, that you can't get escape from. All that doesn't
Yep.
sound good. When you travel a lot, you run into places where you just can tell, like, oh, this is a place that I could, get a flat tire and wake up 20 years later and be like, what happened? Why am I still here?
Yeah,
you know,
most definitely.
those are the kind of places that I would almost say is there's an energy addiction, and it's probably best to separate yourself from it and try to gather the strength outside of it to reapproach it. But they're tricky because if it's the earth energy. If you're working with that kind of flow, it's not like you're going to overcome it completely. You're going to still be within that spray of the waterfall.
Yep. What we've been trying to do over the last year and a half, because we did South Africa, we went to Durban, South Africa last year, and now we went to Egypt. What we're trying to do is actually repair the grids because they're out of balance,
Mm,
creating these negative vortices in different areas that are actually putting people out of balance and creating this deficit of energy, whether it's personal energy or financial energy or all these different energies, if you want to call look at it that way.
mm-hmm.
So we've been trying to do balancing and repair of the grids when we go these different places. So we've done that in multiple places, and basically when we're ready to leave, we it feels like we're getting the escort out.
Mm,
Thank you very much for coming and now leave,
mm,
because you've done work
yeah,
and we actually see the effect. And then the energies of the location. It's like, okay, thank you for doing what you did, but now get.
right,
So
right. Yeah, that's interesting. Do you take your pendants to these places to be charged, or do you do any kind of charging energy work prior to purchase?
the energy work on them is done entirely in the etheric plane. These are built off of the Angelic Realms blueprints,
Hmm.
and I'm just building what they're asking me to build. So when they come in and tell me to basically give me it's like, okay, they showed me make this one with the three tensor rings. I'm like, that won't work. And they're showing me make it. I'm like, that's not going to work. And I look at all the measurements and I cut them all up and I weld them all together. It's like, oh, it does
It
work.
works.
Okay, interesting. So I'm going by what they're showing me,
Yeah.
and these are blueprints. So they all have their intentions, and all their energy is focused from the etheric plane, from the angelic realm.
So it's a make it and leave it be. It does its own thing.
They are designed to do their task, and you can actually have them do more through your intentions. So which makes it more fun. You can do stuff.
Yeah, definitely.
Um,
Yeah. Do you have recommendations on any need for cleaning or clearing the pendants after use or after a time?
the only there's only clearing as far as you can tell them to reset, which is resetting your intentions on them. As far as clearing, tensor rings are notorious, especially the bigger ones, for self-clearing. And you can actually clear everything else with the tensor ring by putting whatever through the field,
Hmm.
through that field in the middle. So they're self-clearing. So that's not an issue with the pendant themselves. Well, what you do is when you put it on, you tell it to reset. You connect to it. To hold your arm. It's like you connect to it, tell it to reset, and then you tell it to go to full power.
Hmm.
If you want, we can actually do that quickly right here. We'll show
Yeah.
you with a. Which one would you like to try? Samuel, Michael,
Michael, be good.
Michael.
Cord
Okay, so
cutting.
we're gonna do Michael here. Yep.
Cord cutting is always
Okay,
good.
so let's switch this. Move these out of the way so we don't distract. And okay. So that's the Archangel Michael.
Okay.
So as we just said for a minute ago, So visualize that pendant hanging from your chest right here, right over your heart chakra,
Mm-hmm.
and connect to it. Visualize it's there, and then tell it to reset with a thought. Now tell it to go to full power with the thought and allow the feeling and the shifting to happen.
Yeah.
This exercise will give you an idea of what the energy of the pendant is capable of. It's not as strong as it would be as a physical pendant, but it'll give you an understanding of the feeling that it'll give you.
Yeah, it's really nice. Feel it coming up the back. It's very great. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm going to try another one with you.
Mm-hmm.
Have you, let's see, let's do Metatron or Shemuel? Which one would you like?
Shamuel is probably appropriate. Oh, yeah.
So we're going to do the same feel.
That is a lot.
Connect to it. You
Okay.
go, it's
Yeah,
powerful.
boy.
So you just, it's hanging over your heart chakra. You just connect to it, ask it to reset, and then tell it to go to full power.
Mm-hmm. That's nice. And that one hits higher. That seems to go up
Yeah.
above the crown chakra.
Yep, because that one has the two different tensor rings in it. So the outer
Hmm.
tensor ring is your heart chakra. So it's helping to heal emotional field, higher heart, etheric body. Then the smaller ring in there is your star chakra, allowing you to connect to your higher self while being grounded. So it helps you be you.
Hmm.
So connecting to your higher self to remember who you are, kind of an idea.
Mm-hmm.
And then the crystals in it allow you to, clear and be more of who you are. Because a lot of times, if you're dealing with a lot of stress, you forget who you are and you become the stress and you become the problem that you're trying to work in.
Yeah, that might fall in line with that being too high-minded. Maybe that's why I was feeling it up there, right? Kind of bringing
Yep.
down the alignment down a little closer to the heart. Yeah.
Okay.
Or further up,
So,
depending on which way you want to go.
yep.
That's great.
So now ask the pendant to balance your field, balance your chakras.
It's good. It goes all the way to the feet.
Yep.
It's nice. Yeah. So that's like a very complete, egg clearing type of pendant. Very interesting. Are the spirals going in opposite directions, or are they going the same direction that I see there? Looks like they're going the same
They're
direction.
always in the same direction.
Always the same.
Yep.
Okay. And for
Yep.
those that are
Always.
listening, just for those that are listening, so they know what's going on here, pictures of the pendants, or actually the pendants themselves, on the video, and then meditation, much like a yantra, but utilizing an actual physical object in that meditation, and in that visualization and intent, allowing the pendant and the stones and the energy inherent to do what it's there to do. That's great. Yeah, and that's the Shamu.
Shamuel.
Shamuel. Okay, how do you spell that?
Chamuel.
Ah, okay. Yeah.
And if you have a lot of folks that like to do meditations and working in the higher vibrations and the higher chakras,
Mm-hmm.
this one is that one.
That's Metatron. No,
No, that
it's
one is actually the multidimensional.
okay.
That one is your third eye, crown chakra, and star chakra amplification with the three tensor rings, with the same crystals as the Michael. So this one actually has the 3 different tensor rings for the different energies.
Hmm.
So this one will open you up a lot on the higher side.
Yeah.
So if you do the same process of connect to it, reset, and then have it go to full power,
Hmm. I'm not
that
gonna
one
do
you're gonna feel it.
that.
You're not gonna do that one?
Because now I'm getting the Moldavite vibes on it.
So
It's
this
coming
one's
from space.
really strong.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
That one I can already tell. I'd have to sit with. I'd have to sit with very carefully. Yeah, I can already tell what it's
very
doing. It's
powerful.
great.
Yeah, we had have you ever heard of Daniken Brinkley?
Mm, hmm.
Danian Brinkley. Danian.
No, I don't think so.
He was hit by lightning like 5 times or something like that.
Hmm.
And when
Well, that's
that's
nice.
Metatron right
Oh,
there.
that's beautiful.
And when he put the multidimensional pendant on, he was literally looking down. He looked to the side on either side, and he was looking at it going, I can see the dimensional barriers.
Hmm.
And I was like, oh, that's cool.
Yeah, that's wild. Hit by lightning 5 times. Whew.
Yeah, he had near-death experiences 5
Oh
times.
my
He
gosh.
basically died, came back, died, came back, died, came back. So I mean, his experience is beyond this particular realm.
Yeah. And they say once you've been hit once, there's a high likelihood that you'll actually be hit again with lightning. It just becomes this thing where you're just, a magnet for it.
Yep.
Oh man, oh, that's great. Now I see where you're saying with the soap bubble and the bubble within the bubble, that kind of thing, or
Yep.
the glaze of soap. That's I love that one. And see, for
This one's
me,
very strong.
yeah, yeah, and I love that energy and the visuals of it. It's really nice, and I'm a big fan of lapis. And so is that the morganite in the middle?
Yeah, Morganite's in the second ring in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this one is the Metatron pendant, and this one creates like a bubble, a very strong bubble of energy just over your layered energy field of your physical body. So it's not your torus,
Mm-hmm.
but if you've ever visualized where your skin is one level, your emotional field is just a layer out, and then you
Mm-hmm.
have the layers all the way out.
Yeah.
This creates like a protective energy bubble just on the outside of your chakra layers.
Hmm. Okay.
So it's protective and it feels a little compressive if you actually put it on.
Yeah.
It depends on who you are and where you are on your path
Right.
and what you need. And that's why I have, instruct people. It's like go through this process, put it on, virtually, and then experience the pendant, and you'll understand which one is for you
Mm-hmm.
because you'll feel it the strongest.
Yeah, that morganite in the center. Morganite, what I get off of morganite is a heart chakra kind of energy, as opposed
Yeah,
to what a lot of people use it. I'm not sure exactly what a lot of people use it for, but that's the vibe I get off of morganite. Is definitely
yeah,
on that higher plane of the heart chakra. So unconditional love, divine
yes,
love. Um, Not so much like the one-on-one love, but on something that's more connected to divinity.
yeah. The way I see Morganite, it's more of like an angelic version of rose quartz.
Yeah, angelic version of rose quartz. So I like that. Yeah. Now,
Yeah, total unconditional.
do you have an example of the anklet
Yes.
by chance?
Let's have to. Oh, I do. They're here. I gotta bend it in place because they're usually flat. So I'll
Hmm.
move this over here. So that,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
so those you put one on either side. This is what it looks like. Straight up. It's
Okay.
got a protective coating on it to keep the copper safe. So what you do is you put if you want to visualize those, that's pretty intense
Yeah.
because it closes your field down. If you want to try it, what you do is you visualize these actually with the copper facing out like that on your ankles.
Hmm.
Okay, visualize those on your ankles.
Mm-hmm.
Ask them to reset, and then tell them to go to full power, and you'll feel your field shift.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And It'll feel definitely different.
Yeah, definitely does feel different. I could also see that these would be really good for performing feats of intent or doing more, you know, meditation and things like that. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Well, these allow you to protect yourself. You close down your field so that you're not going to be energetically interrupted
Right.
if you're doing stuff like that. So if you do something like that, you could do like right here, and then add yourself like a pendant.
Oh,
So put that here,
now I am losing
right?
your. You're losing your video a little bit. There we go. Okay. Okay. Oh yeah, I see. Mm-hmm.
And when you're utilizing like the anklets and the pendant at the same time, we call those armor sets.
Uh-huh. Okay. I was going to say I'm getting the energy and vibe, and it may be that that triple band, but I'm getting the warrior um, off of that. Yeah.
Yeah, let's do the Michael. There we
Yeah,
go.
that's a lot. That's nice. Okay. More like a priest.
So
Yeah.
yeah, so do the Michael, and when you put those on, so you can do this virtually as well. So you put the anklets on and you put the pendant on. When they're on, the first word on now is you're going to tell them to synchronize.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to have all three working together as a unified tool, and then you tell them to reset, and then go to full power. It's a completely different energy than either of them alone.
Yeah. Yeah, because they bond. They bond together with your
Yeah.
field as well as with
Yep.
themselves. Yeah. Huh. Now, what is the sheath around the copper? Is that protective, like plastic, like a plastic
Yeah, it's a plastic coating to keep the actual copper mesh from getting damaged.
damaged and
Uh,
turning green and all that? Yeah.
yeah, well, most of the time they don't turn green.
Hmm.
More of what they do is they darken up
Mm-hmm.
as the copper ages. They just get darker and darker and darker. The thing is, it's like if you scrape it on anything, it's such fine copper wire
Hmm.
in that mesh, you can actually splinter it off, and then it starts poking you.
Right. Right.
So, so this is the best way to actually protect the copper.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it still works, and you still have contact on the
Yeah.
skin with the ends and everything like that. Yeah, that's fantastic. Those are great. So you do a full run of supply, like if there was a store that was interested in buying a series of these, you would be able to supply a store with a series of them.
Well, we'd actually have to manufacture them because it's pretty much just myself doing the creation of the tools.
Okay.
So, and with basically the last trip, we basically sold out of everything when we went to Egypt and Greece.
Hmm.
Uh, it was, you know, and there's a large order on the website at the moment. So we're working through those. We should be closing out on that by the end of the week easily, um, because we had most of the stuff was actually shipped. Some of the stuff was here, and then some of the stuff was in the UK. So we're shipping from 3 different locations.
Hmm. Okay. Yeah, that does. That keeps you busy. Yeah.
Oh, most definitely.
Mm-hmm. And as far as the making of the jewelry, what got you started on this path, and maybe just jewelry in general, or where were you at when this all came about for you?
For me, I was actually going through nice way to put it would be a family reorganization.
Hmm.
So I was going through all that, and I was trying to rediscover who I was. And I was going to sound baths and meditations and a bunch of other stuff, trying to figure out who I was again.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I found Slim Sperling and his tools with the tensor rings and stuff like that. And I started creating tensor rings. It took a little while for them to be real active and energy wise, but it took a little bit, but we got them going.
Mm-hmm.
And then Metatron came in and says, you need to make these. And so it took me about a year and a half to make up the anklet. So, and I got it made. Like, that's cool. And then, of course, life kind of got in the way with that whole family reorganization. And I took a lot of my time. Um, And then after when we were in the middle of that, I got basically a dream state message from my wife, or from my future wife at that time, that basically says, "By the way, you got a message from some higher dimensional beings to make the anklets now."
Mm.
There were like ninth dimensional beings that were
Yeah.
kinda coming to her in dream state going, "Tell Peter he needs to make them now
Yeah.
because these are tools that people need now."
Yep. Yeah, I like that. And it's nice when it's a nice command and you really don't have a choice. You know.
Yeah, Metatron came in and gave me the message. It took a while to build them, and then I get basically scolded. It's like, "You need to start making these." I'm like, "I'm really busy. It doesn't
Hmm.
matter. Make them."
Yeah. Stay up late.
Yeah, that's what happened, and then
Yeah.
pendants came in afterwards through necessity, so
Yeah, I used to connect a lot and do art, and it seemed like not that it was inconvenient. My schedule allowed for it, but it was like 1 o'clock in the morning. I'd be doing
yeah.
these drawings and be like, oh boy, I'm tired. you know, we'd go till 3 in the morning just doing one piece. That just seems to be there's no barrier of time. If it needs to be done, you got to do it. That's all there is to it.
Yeah, when they come to you to do stuff, it's their command is, it's like, "Okay, if you need this done, I'll do it."
Yeah,
That's fine.
yeah.
Um,
And you said that these are in a store in Scottsdale, as
yes.
well as the in the UK.
Yes, they're actually in Storm Wisdom. It's a store in Phoenix, in North Phoenix, in the Scottsdale area.
Mm-hmm.
Got them there. We have online store in the UK. We have them on my website here in the US. We ship globally, um,
Yeah,
but we're trying to make it easier to get through, some of the customs expenses and stuff like that for like the UK. And
yeah.
we really want to get into somebody up in like Vancouver area in Canada, because of their customs is really outrageous.
Mm.
And the same thing with Australia. Their customs import fees are very, very expensive. So we're trying to make it so that we have distributors in each country that will ship directly from and avoid that cost to the
Yeah,
customer.
yeah. Bring it in wholesale, and then it's somewhere for people to access on the retail. Yeah, it's a good move. And what is the website? We'll have it in the description as well. But where can people find and order the pendants and the bracelets and the anklets?
Right now, we're at Energies of Service, Energies with an IES of Service .com. We have the presence on Facebook and Instagram and the usual suspect places for that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and you know, we're trying, we're doing our best to actually be out there and be more participating in the environment on social media. And of course, we're being global right now, so we're participating on more of an in-person and global environment right now.
Mm-hmm.
So we're doing that, and we're spreading the word and the energies all over the planet right now, which is amazing.
Yeah.
Uh,
Any you know any ideas for future pieces?
oh yes,
Yeah.
we have a couple more that are already in prototyping right now. We need to actually finish up the design for the manufacturing of for the next one, which is an entity protection pendant.
Hmm. Entity
And it
protection, like the entity, or protection from entities.
protection from entities.
Ah, even better. That's
Um,
great.
and to to the point of this particular technology actually blocked an entity inside my friend who
Hmm.
actually was wearing it. He went in for surgery, and an entity attached to him while he was in surgery. And when he got out of surgery, he just put his tool back on, his pendant back on,
Mm-hmm.
and it caused him 3 weeks of having issues until
Wow.
they realized the entity was strangling his kidneys and
Oh,
keeping his body from creating an enzyme for white blood cells.
wow. And then got rid of it. Get that thing out of there.
Well, yeah, we pulled the pendant off, released the entity, put the pendant back on, and all of a sudden his blood work went back to normal in a heartbeat.
Wow. Wow.
So, um, yeah, it pissed off the entity getting stuck. It was trapped at that point.
Oh, okay. And with these pendants and the entity pendant, would that be something that traps the entity or repels?
Well, it protects you.
Yeah.
And what you do is you actually do a clearing, let's say, back of a better word, prayer
Hmm.
or an enchantment before you put the pendant on, so it makes sure you're clear. And then when you put it on, the entities, negative ones, will not come anywhere near you because it's like bright white light to them. The thing is, if you have entities that are actually of a positive nature or souls that have, are waiting to go back home, go back to the light, they'll find you. And all you
Right.
got to do is actually maybe once a week or so open up a portal, allow them to go back, go to source or whatever they're
Hmm.
going,
Hmm.
and then close the portal. So you're helping out the souls that are stuck.
Yeah, becoming an active participant in
Yep.
their
Exactly.
liberation, really, when you think
Correct.
about it. Return to source.
Yep. Yep. And it keeps the negatives away from you and it helps the positives go back. So I mean, there's a lot of people that are really interested, especially those in the paranormal and going into these buildings where the entities are. They can be a little rambunctious.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, I know people don't do it, so they're not really aware of it, but that is a very reality to dealing with or working with paranormal places and then people that have already have paranormal attachments.
Yep.
Would you say also there's been a lot in the news and a lot going on in regards to um, the unknown visitors or alien entities that seem to have an ability to um, work or delve into our theta state? Would the entity pendant be useful in blocking intruders like that?
It should be. We haven't fully tested it out. It's still a prototype. We've only had a couple of out, so we don't have any experience or any
Mm.
reports from that.
Hmm. I'd say nod
Uh,
on that. Make sure there's something.
well, it's a
Yeah.
matter of getting experience because a lot of the feedback we get from these tools gives us a better understanding of what they're fully capable of doing.
Right.
Um, it's like when they tell me to build a pendant, I don't know what they do entirely. It's like, okay, I made it. Now what?
Yeah.
What is it going to do? And then we experiment, and I have somebody that's super sensitive on that area, and they give me this whole list of things that they're feeling with it, and then
Mm.
somebody else feels it's like, yes, that, and you missed this, and this,
Hmm.
and then
Hmm.
it becomes this is what the pendant is capable of doing.
Yeah. Yeah, I've always liked that way, even with stones. Give it to a field of people that work with stones, that do healings, that, are doing that kind of work and get their
Yep,
response to find out what that stone does in that kind of work, in that practice. That seems to be the best kind of safest way to do it, almost like a clinical trial or something like
yep.
that. Well, Peter, it was really great having you on today and really cool getting to experience these pieces that you put together. And I guess I could say that you've channeled these pieces.
Yes, for lack of a better term or a better understanding, yes, it's a channeled message from a higher being that wanted these created, and I didn't believe it until after all of a sudden my soon-to-be wife is like, "Hon, I just had a dream tonight, and basically you were scolded.
Hmm.
You need to start making them now." Well,
Yeah.
we're busy. It's like, doesn't matter. They tell you to make them now, and I don't think it was for that specific moment. I think they're looking at things more of a timeline kind of a thing. It's like if I start then,
Right.
people will start understanding, and when they start coming out more and more and more and more, people will actually understand what they're for, and there'll be enough out there, and we'll have enough production capacity by that time where we can actually get them to as many people as possible,
Hmm.
so that they can actually be more protected in their field and
Yeah.
and continue on the path.
I like that perspective too, because it's kind of like, there's a ramp and you have to start at a certain point. Otherwise, you're missing the boat, you're missing the train.
Yeah.
You got to start now, even though it doesn't seem like anything's going to happen. You're going to go through all the same pitfalls, but you have to ramp up production. You have to get to that point where it's already got a support. Yeah. Yeah, that's a
Yep.
good way to go about it. And again, the website, where can they find these?
The website is energiesofservice.com, energiesofservice.com with an IES.
Yeah, you
Because
gotta
we have
say
a lot
that.
of folks putting a YS in there, and I can't find it.
Yeah.
But you can actually Google us, and you'll find me up on Google. I'm there. DuckDuckGo and all the other search engines. I'm up on there now.
Okay.
And we have the YouTube channel, and we have, like we were talking about earlier, the instructions on how to control your pendant, the
Hmm.
intention controls. I have a video up telling, giving the instructions on that, on how to do it. And in the second half of it's more of like, okay, now let's have some fun with that intention, and then do these things, try this, and
Mm-hmm.
and have fun with it, because you can really like we said, it's like just clear your balance your chakras, balance on energy. You can just feel it.
Yeah.
Your energy just settling in.
Right. No,
It's
exactly.
really kind of interesting.
And that's why I like to
So
call it a tool,
it is.
because something you can use.
It is.
Yeah.
And the best part about these is it's not to it's you can actually utilize this tool in more than one way. So let's just say you have the Michael pendant and you put it on and you get that feeling, right? And you can feel it in your energy field, and it just feels very comfortable. You feel very safe. So that's your right brain, right? Your right brain is experiencing that. Your left brain is left in the wind. So you just tell it to, okay, that's a warm blanket,
Hmm.
right? Michael, warm blanket. You put it on, warm blanket. Put it on, warm blanket. Over time, you're programming your subconscious to warm blanket. Right?
Right.
So eventually you don't need it to do it. We have a client we met in Greece. She had a Metatron pendant. She lost it a couple of months ago, and I told her, it's like, well, tell it to turn on. Yeah, but I don't have it. She lost it in the ocean.
Hmm.
Since I told her to turn on, she goes, oh my God, I can feel it. Exactly.
Yeah.
You don't need it anymore. So at that point, if you don't require the tool, you can actually just tell it to reset, and you can pass it on to somebody else that does need it, and it'll work for them.
Yeah. Yeah. That's and I've had it in another show. We talked about stones, and uh, there's that ability once you have harmonized with something, really anything, but stones for a lot of people, you can always retrace that energy because you've breathed with it, you've already been one with it, you've bonded with it in a way. Your
Yep.
atoms know its atoms, and exactly with the pendant. I don't doubt it. She could probably feel the weight of it too. She'd be like, "Hey, it's
Yep.
there." Yeah,
Oh, yeah. She could feel it. She could feel it was her pendant too,
yeah,
because every one is unique. They're all handmade.
right.
So they all have that slight tweak of frequency. So it's one of those things. She could feel it. It was amazing. It's like, and she was like, after talking to her and explaining that to her, she was like, "Oh, thank you so much."
Mm.
And it's like she was happy to have her pendant back, even though she wasn't wearing it.
Yeah, you gave her the phone number where it's staying.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
great. Well, Peter, again, thank you so much for being on today, and really look forward to seeing what you have coming up.
absolutely. Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure.